Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Matthew with Crescent Vale. How are we doing today? Getting over a bit of I don't know what you call it, I guess a flu, sickness, a respiratory illness. So if you hear essentially my, I don't know, say breathing, speaking, my voice is a little different, then it's just recovering from a bit of the flu, I guess you could say. But what we have right now is a self-graded video, Dennis Rodman, Beam Team, Stadium Club, 1992. A beautiful card, a card that was pulled from a pack. Bit of the backstory on it. It was where my significant other, my wife, Hannah, you've seen her probably in some videos if you watch all the videos. She, for around Valentine's Day, I think about 3 to 4 years ago, she said, we can go to a sports card shop and I'll get you basically a couple packs and we'll rip them and we'll see if we get anything. One of the packs specifically was Stadium Club, and we pulled this Dennis Rodman card. It's been in the PC for several years. And I just tell myself, I'd like to have it in a nice slab. So, use Zion slabs. Feel free to acquire them yourselves. Put a custom label in there. If not, you don't have to. And you can do the same thing I'm doing. But what this is a self-graded video. Quick disclaimer. The grades are essentially grades that I essentially assess. I also cross-reference the other cards that have been graded. Essentially, we'll cross-reference 5, 10, probably this card specifically 20 to 40 different times, cross-reference it with the other grading companies. And then also what I'll do is go to an AI tool, Twitter/X, it's called Grok. And I'll take high-res close-up photos of the corners, surface, and these are the same photos that I'll upload also to eBay. So essentially, what you see on the eBay photos is what I pump into the Grok AI system. I say act as a professional grader and give me your closest analysis while also doing cross-referencing. And it comes through and it gives me grades that are actually pretty accurate to mine. So I've had some people kind of comment and say, some of these cards may not get these grades or a little more less kind, maybe more aggressive, maybe just more stern. And, the fact of the matter is they're probably right. Sometimes grading companies will be more stern, will be more strict on their grades, and sometimes fairly, unfairly. Maybe they can be better than what I project. It doesn't always have to be doom and gloom with these other grading companies. And some people just have their preferences, and that's okay. But I'm giving my disclaimer is this is a raw card. It's self-graded. It is not guaranteed to cross over at any other grading company. At the grades I'm saying it's not increasing any value, or I can't guarantee it's going to increase any value. I think having it in a slab, having it protected, is a bit of a value add. The nicest way to say it. Maybe not increase the value financially, but definitely will protect it over time. And also, I thought to myself for a second, am I, what's the word? Whenever I'm grading the card but also selling it, one could make the argument that is a conflict of interest. There's the words. And I thought to myself, if anybody sells on eBay, and if anybody, it's required, by the way, the condition of the card is a required field if you sell a raw card on eBay. So everybody selling raw cards on eBay, everybody has a conflict of interest because you essentially assess the card's condition and then you're selling it. So all I'm doing is I'm giving a very detailed, the most detailed analysis with video, with close-ups, with AI cross-referencing. I'm just doing it to the most extreme degree, and I'm trying to reduce as much as possible any kind of you could say I'm trying to increase the transparency and reduce the amount of a buyer buying something not knowing what they're getting. So to a degree, is it a conflict of interest? A little bit. Is it the least amount of conflict of interest compared to other raw card buyers? I believe so. And you can disagree with me in the comments and say, eBay's generic way of doing it is better. And I'm like, why would a generic format of rating a condition be better than someone going to the amount of due diligence that I'm going through? I would just like to think that people would appreciate that level of due diligence. But not everyone does. And you know what? That's okay. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to start off by putting the card back in a penny sleeve. I put it in a penny sleeve whenever I measure the centering. And I just love the condition of this card, by the way. I've kept it in the PC for years. And one of the reasons why I love it so much is these Beam Team cards is the centering is oftentimes not the most perfect, and you can kind of see it between the left and right. You can kind of see how this design comes up to the top here, and that just looks almost perfect to me. And you know, they're most likely the card's over 30 years old, so there's going to be some possible flaws to the card, but the centering is not one of them, and I'm probably on the edge of giving it a 10 for centering. Like, I can get out the ruler and we can take a look at it, but to be real honest, if you have cross-referenced these Beam Team cards, you're just going to see that the centering on this is just almost perfect. So I don't apologize. I'm just going to tell my viewers right now and give the subgrade a 10. That's just how I feel about it. Feel free to disagree. If you've seen a lot of these cards, and I'm probably sure you have if you're watching this video, the level of centering, the space between the left and the right side, to me, is almost identical. So, you know, and I think that's the first centering 10. I've only had one other subgrade of a 10 so far, and I don't know if any of them have been centering 10s. The corners that is sharp. And, you know, this is a card you can once say you have to remove your emotions because, you know, you bought it on a holiday with your significant other. Fact of the matter is, and maybe one could say that corner down there is not as sharp as the first two we were just looking at, but it is sharp, all around sharp. So yeah, we gave the centering 10. Right now we're looking at the corners to see if we can find any flaws, any whitening, any kind of imperfections. And it did come out packed fresh, so that kind of helps a little bit. I could say like a possible, let's see. One could say that corner's not as sharp. I'm going to give the corners a 9.5. You know, I was on the fence of giving the corners a 10, but over 30 years old, you cross-reference this with other stuff, you're rarely going to get your corners at a perfect 10. So now we're taking a look at the edges. Probably going with a 9.5 on the edges. It will be very hard to have this card grayed out at a 10 for the edges. I would say it's close to pristine, but it's hard to get this any card of this age and time. Edges on this 9.5, corner 9.5. Centering 10. And now for the surface. Yeah, you can kind of see a little bit there. Yeah, I'm going to keep the edges at 9.5. Because honestly, that's not very much imperfection. What we're looking for is any imperfections on the surface, and this is a great view right here underneath the light to find dimples, manufacturing errors. I call them indentations. I just don't see much. It looks super clean on the front. Super clean on the back. So this is putting us in a, I won't say tight pickle, in a tough situation because I'm going to give the surface a 10. And that is one of the few times I've ever given 2 10s. That's the first time I've ever given 2 10s on a card before. Now the question is, would this card stay at a 9.5 or would it go to a 10? There's 2 9.5 grades, there's 2 10 grades. And to be honest, this card is one of my favorites. And I'm going to pump it through AI. So look at the eBay description, look at the YouTube description, because I will put the AI score in there as well. I'm on the leaning side of the fence of a 10. And this will be the first 10 that I have self-graded. So it's a rarity, but it has now happened. I am scoring this at a 10 with 2 subgrades at 9.5. And, that is as fair as I can go. The card came out of a pack fresh. It has been in a kind of, what is this known as? An Ultra Pro kind of heavier piece of thick plastic for 3 years. It's been well protected. Card gets a 10. First time. You need to have like an applause moment maybe. I'm pretty strict on my own cards, but kind of a nice moment. So here we go. Thank you for watching.